My name is Nickel, Nickel. This video is going to be about Roy's up B being able to KO an opponent in one hit, even when they are at 0%. Sounds like it's too good to be true? Well, let's break it down. These parts are slowed down so you can see what's happening before we try and go further into understanding what's going on. You can probably tell by watching this that the KO is due to knockback and actually doesn't even deal damage. If there isn't a patch that fixes this in the future, we're probably going to see an endless amount of exploitation with this whenever it's possible. Since the KO is knockback dependent, you have to keep in mind that not every stage will have the same ceiling height, so you can't necessarily draw absolutes, but you will be able to get a general sense of where the boundaries lie by watching this video. So if you notice here, our opponent Game & Watch doesn't even have to be doing anything. He's just standing there, and all we have to do to KO him is use our up special. That's it. Nothing else. And as I said before, it doesn't actually do damage, but we still get the KO. The only time the opponent might take some damage is if you don't hit it exactly right, or if you send them into the blast zone, and then they will take 1 or 2% damage for being in the blast zone but not getting KO'd. So what is causing this? Well, firstly, we know that Game & Watch is a relatively light character. And secondly, we know that Roy is in Rage Mode. If you're unfamiliar with the term Rage Mode, also known as the Rage Effect, when your character has taken enough damage that they will begin smoking, like Roy is here, his attacks will have a greater knockback. So that, plus the fact that Roy's up B has a ridiculous knockback to begin with, will instantly KO many light characters from 0%. You have to also keep in mind something that Hildebrand pointed out to me is that if you hit with the shaft of the sword, you're going to get the multi-hit, which means the KO won't happen. The opponent will get trapped in that multi-hit and it's not going to send them back, which is what you just saw happen on screen. It's the tip of the sword, which would be the last hit if it was a multi-hit, but that can be the only hit that connects. I'm referring to the tip of the sword where the brightest sparkle is. That's the part of the sword that has the most knockback. If any other part of the sword hits, it doesn't seem to work. So because of that, this will take a little bit of practice, but it's actually pretty easy to get down. And it doesn't matter where it hits the opponent, only the specific hitbox of the sword itself and where that connects. Naturally, the question becomes, well, which characters can I abuse this with? Well, let's look at the Kurogane Hammer waitlist for some generalized relative comparison. Remember, these values could be inaccurate. I know that. But for the sake of this video, I'm gonna assume that they're true, so we have at least some starting point to go off of. You can decide the validity of these weight values yourself if you want to check out the list, which will be linked in the description below. So, according to this list, Game & Watch has a weight value of 75. If that's true, that means we should be able to KO Jigglypuff and Mewtwo no problem, because their weight values are 68 and 72 respectively. Well, that was easy. That seemed to be true going down the list, so let's try going up the list to see what the heaviest character that can be knocked out from 0% is. One spot above Mr. Game & Watch is Kirby with a weight value of 77, so let's try him out to see if this will work. Kirby seems to be just heavy enough where we can't do this, but what if we add in the next variable? If you weren't aware, whenever you charge up for a smash, your character becomes temporarily lighter during the charging of that smash attack. It's part of the risk-reward for being able to do the kind of damage that a smash attack will deal in exchange for being vulnerable for a moment. So if we time Roy's up B in Rage Mode with the opponent's charging of the smash, it might just make him light enough to KO at 0%. Let's test it out. And boom! He gone. So now that we know that Kirby is the weight limit for the natural 0% kill, how far can we go up the list getting 0% kills with adding in the elements of timing the attack during smash charges? Well, rather than going up one character at a time and having this video go on forever, let's jump way up the list and start off in the heavyweight section at Ike, who's at 107 here. Ike looks a bit too heavy even when we time our hits when he's charging for a smash attack. So let's jump down a little bit and try Mario, who's the heaviest middleweight at 98. And he's out of here. We know that the threshold lies somewhere between 98 and 107. Let's try to go somewhere in the middle rather than going from one direction because that might take too long. Link is at 104, which relative to the rest of the characters is roughly in the middle, and therefore might make for a good test. and it was so close on that one. He looks like he was just about to be KO'd. It even had the red electric bolt on the screen. Since we know we're very close to finding this threshold, let's try only one value down, which is Ryu at 103. And there it is! That solves it. If we assume that these weight values are correct, Ryu and everyone lighter than him can be KO'd in one hit from 0%, and anyone Link's weight or heavier cannot be, even while they're charging for their smash attack. So of course, everything you've seen so far is a product of trial and error, and I might be wrong about some of it, so I want to give you another perspective on this so you have an even better picture of how this might work. A little background is, the first time I ever saw this happen was in a match against Fox by Galloping Ghost Fighters, but it was unexplained and I couldn't really find anything online to help me understand what was going on. I was really curious after I saw that, which is the reason why I wanted to figure out exactly what happened during the brief match, and that's why I started breaking it down. But after I made this video, well, up until this point of the video, I saw a discussion where a guy named Nulunas gave his take on it and brought up some things that I hadn't even considered, like how the game itself is coded. So here's a little piece of what he said. He stated, Roy's up B is a rapid hit. Rapid hits in this game are lazily coded. They are coded to assume that the attack won't be interrupted by anything, so that it should chain into the last hit where it has reasonable knockback. Couple that with every attack has hit lag, by this I mean the shaking/stun of the involved, of at least 1 frame, which means the defender needs to get put in place for the next hit faster than if no hit lag, and it tracks the offender's movement, so if fast falling it tries to push a downward momentum when multi-hit, or in the up B's case push a harder rise. Since Fox only got hit by one middle of the multi-hit Link, he's going to receive unfair knockback. If you want to read more about this, there will be a link in the description below. I want to thank my buddy Hildebrand for helping out with the video because as you guys saw, most of the stuff was discovered via trial and error, and most of that trial and error was done via 2-player testing. If you'd like to see more videos like this where it's a bit more of a technical breakdown, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. Whether you're on a mobile device or on a computer, you can click in the corner of this video on the little I button to go directly to a video you might end up liking that's also on this channel. There's a new Weird Facts video and a new Weird Glitches video, both coming to the channel very soon. So if you'd like to leave any suggestions for facts to include, let me know down below in the comments or on Twitter. Thanks a ton for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.